So Technics is one of those brands that everyone knows. It's kind of a staple in the industry. Everyone either had or still has or even knows someone who had one of those classic Technics stacker systems in the 80s or 90s or maybe even earlier. I still have my auntie's early stacker system which I inherited, and it's still going, and I absolutely love it because it just reminds me of an earlier time, and the fact that it's still working I think is really cool and a real testament to the build quality and the engineering behind their products. So they started in 1965, but the first direct drive turntable that they made was released in 1970, and that was the SP10. And it quickly became adopted as the turntable to have in recording studios. The reason it became so popular in studios was because the speed accuracy was unlike anything anyone had ever seen before. And that is what the SL1000 is currently based off of. That turntable there is their love letter or their thank you note to the original SP10. It's styled after it. You can actually buy this turntable in its SP10 configuration where it is just the square with the spinning circle in it, and then you can put that into a console or into a different plinth or something like that. This version we have here, the SL1000, has a tone arm on it, has the body, and you can add extra tone arms onto it. Soon after that they released the SL1200 Mark I, the iconic SL1200, and the SL1200 quickly became known as the staple turntable to own if you're doing DJing or mixing or something like that, because they were built so well, they sounded really good, and they were very, very hard to break. And that's kind of why we have seen the SL1200 go from where it started there all the way through to where it is now. It is still a model that they make. They're up to Mark 7 now, and it's still famous in the DJing and in mixing industry. But now we've got hi-fi equivalents which are built off of that platform. And in the last 5 years, we've seen a massive push from Technics back to hi-fi audio, which is the whole reason they got into this in the first place. They come out with a great turntable. It gets quickly picked up as a really well-built turntable that can be treated a bit rough and taken to site to do DJing, to do mixing and recording, and then the brand picks up on it, starts making great DJ turntables, and decides, well, we're going to use the fame that turntable model number has created to create some really stunning hi-fi turntables. So you get out of that, you get the SL1200G and GR2. We've got two different models here, which are both based off of the SL1200 platform, or they use the name at least. Even the SL1500 is actually just a DJ SL1200 Mark 7 in disguise. They took basically an SL1200 Mark 7, took off the pitch slider, added a built-in phonostage and an auto lifter for when your tone arm moves to the end of the track, and called it a new product. So you can use an SL1200 Mark 7 as a home hi-fi audio product, because that's how good it is. Moving away from turntables and onto their other products like their amplifiers and the SACD players, because some of you may be wondering how they are going in that space. Technics is bang on zero in terms of neutrality in color, if you know what I mean. When I think of Technics, I think of vanilla ice cream. It is just plain Jane, exactly what it was supposed to be. No added in flavors or flair. It's honest. The amps are built very well. They have tons of power, more power than you would expect for the numbers that they've got on the rating. Like even the Wii Lifestyle amplifier is only rated for like, I think 30 watts per channel, but I can power some pretty decent sized floor standers off there. They've got some very special amplifier technology going on inside them. If you want to use it for streaming or internet radio or something like that, the app is really fast and easy to use. Not easy to do these days. Often I do see a lot of companies who are hi-fi component specialists try and make an app, but it's like, and it works, but it's, you know, not that great. And the better apps come from the companies who are more app focused and less hardware focused. Technics seem to have broken that mold and somehow made great components and a great app. So that's really awesome to see. Some of their products have FM tuners built in. That's a plus. We do get a lot of customers still asking for an FM tuner, and less companies are making FM tuners now. But now Technics have added radio in as well, so that's also really cool to have. Longevity is definitely something that Technics hold as important. And I mean, you can see that in the fact that tons of their, you know, classic system from the 80s and 90s are still going. Like my one in my guest bedroom is still working and I use it every other week. You won't have an issue dealing with them in terms of buying replacement parts or using them over a long period of time. The company is owned by Panasonic. If you're dealing with us here at Soundline, we have a fantastic relationship with Panasonic and they always support us.